Right on. Thank you for doing this. Really appreciate your time.
Course.
All right. Three, two, one, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to A Hoops Journey, episode 149. Still hard to believe that we're 149 episodes in, but we're keeping it rolling with so many fantastic people. We have someone who is now added to their resume the term Olympian, which wasn't always the case. And I want to get into that a little bit about being able to fight through the adversity of not making teams, but still being one of the best players our country has. She's all the way overseas in Spain right now, 9 hours ahead. So we are grateful for her time. Practice ran a little bit late. Virginia Tech Hokie, uh, just an amazing hooper. So much to get into with her today. We are so grateful to be with the legend herself, Miss Sami Hill. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on.
It's our pleasure, honestly. Thank God for Steve Bauer being able to vouch for us. I know you've done many podcasts, but I have a quick question right off the bat. What does coach what's the reason coach kept you in longer today? You said practice ran a little bit late, so you're a little bit more scrambled than usual. Now, if you don't want to give too much away, but was it a big scout? Were things not going great? Give us an understanding about the European perspective of why a coach might hold a bunch of professional women in after practice or a little bit longer than expected without
Yeah,
getting in
I think it
trouble.
was no, no, no. I think it was a practice we needed and it was a long time coming. We've had a couple tough losses that were on us. So today we
Okay.
did a lot of drills, a lot of reps of trying to get out of the things that we keep making mistakes, like turnovers or missed free throws. So there was a lot of that in the practice, which made it go a little long.
Sure. And sometimes it just needs to be done to sort of hammer
Yeah.
it home. What's your approach for a day to day? Do you get in early and get some shots? Do you sort of get your strength work in and then get ready for practice and get shots up after? What's a day to day like for you? I guess it probably depends on game day, how much time off in between, but give us a general idea of what that looks like for you.
Yeah, during the week, our practices are pretty structured. Normally, we do weights and or shooting in the morning as a team,
Okay.
have midday off. Spain loves their siesta, so we do have a
Yeah.
little break in the middle of the day, and then team practice in the evening. And if not, team shooting or lifting in the morning. Once or twice, I'll go in by myself or with a teammate to get some shots up.
And what do you, I remember I'm a high school teacher in my real world. We went on the spring break trip the one year and the kids were mind blown because we're driving through Barcelona and like no one's on the streets and our tour guide is like, no, they actually have like siesta time and they couldn't wrap their head around it. What do you do? Are you a reader? Do you have a little nap? Do you listen to a podcast, connect with people from home when you get that siesta time? What do you like to do?
Yeah, I'm a big reader and a big
Okay.
napper.
Nice.
Sometimes I need
Nice.
it after the morning practice. So Spain is definitely for me, letting me get my midday nap in.
Love that. Love that. That's something to think about as a professional. It's like if get the contract runs out and you got to think about where you want to go next. Do they offer nap time or not? So
Yeah.
that's amazing. Amazing. Now that you've had some time, when you hear the word and someone talk about you, I've seen a couple of recent things that you've been on. When you hear the word Olympian, what does that mean to you? And knowing how things ended for both the men and the women, I would say, what's left for you to think about as you go forward?
Yeah, it was always my dream. Didn't know
Hmm.
it would be basketball, could have been any sport, but
Hey,
since I was
okay.
super young, I knew my big dream was to be an Olympian, so it's still pretty surreal to me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I kind of forget that it happened because I get so wrapped up in the basketball world. It just goes day by day. It's practice, 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 game, and then
Hmm.
you switch teams, practice, 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 game. So it was almost fell into the routine and then somehow ended up at the Olympics. So looking back on it, it's amazing that it happened for me, and I'm so grateful for my path that brought me there. Um, but what's next? I would say the same thing. I really go day by day, practice by practice, game by game, and
Yep.
still enjoying the game of basketball. I feel I'm improving, so I'll just take it day by day, season by season.
Sure. When the Olympics wrapped up for you, how quickly were you on a plane back, or did you have a little bit of time to decompress? What does that look like um, for you and where you're at in your situation?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to have a couple weeks off. My coach
Nice.
here in Spain was on staff with the Spanish national team,
Okay,
and
that helps.
we have a couple other Olympians on our team. So I think she knew the toll it took on our bodies, and we definitely needed a physical break and a mental break from basketball. So I
Hmm.
got a couple weeks off, took a vacation, spent some time with family, and then got right back into it on September 1st.
Yeah, I mean that's important though, and nice to have a coach. I mean, regardless they're involved with Spain or not, but just to have that kind of wherewithal to be like, hey, these ladies need a bit of a pause, or else, we injury fatigue's going to happen way earlier than we normally, no matter how
Yeah,
many naps you get within the season, right?
definitely.
Well, let's go back for you. What's young Sammy like, and why was basketball the thing that separated itself? You've already touched on already about the dream of being an Olympian. So it sounds like you were a an athletic person and love sport. So how and why did basketball sort of separate itself for you when you were younger?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I played every sport at school when I was younger, did everything outside of school, probably until middle school. And then in high school, I still did school sports like cross country and I did volleyball, but I'd more or less narrowed it down to basketball and track and field. And I
Hmm.
decided basketball pretty late. I actually took a fifth year of high school just because I still didn't know if I wanted to do track or basketball
Okay.
in university. But I think what the deciding factor for me was I loved being part of a team. And I took a summer off of basketball just to focus on track. And as much as I love track and the competitiveness of racing,
Hmm.
I really missed being part of a team and going out game by game. And it's bigger than yourself. I do love track because it is all on you, and I do
Yeah,
miss that
yeah.
sometimes, but I miss being part of a team, having coaches, having a support system, and when it's not your day, it's somebody else's day, and
Hmm.
that's good to have people to rely on, but it's also just amazing to watch your teammates succeed. So, miss being part of a team and then got back into it, took my fifth year, and many years later, here I am.
Now relax here. You're still really young, so that's
Yeah.
not many years later.
Yeah.
Well, I like that. When it's not your day, it's someone else's day. That's good stuff. What did you do in track? So obviously you had individual, or you like what were your go-tos?
Yeah, my go-to race was the 800 and I
Oh,
did 400, 1500 and triple jump as well, but
dang.
800 was my race. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Nice.
like the I like the pain.
Yeah, no, you sure do. Yeah. Now, okay, I don't want to assume that our listeners have gone into your story or know a lot about you. So the reading and things that I've seen is high school in New York. So tell us a little bit more. Like, is that's true? You went to high school in New York? Like, are you originally Canadian? Like, give us some insight into all that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was born in New York, but I
Okay.
grew up in Toronto. I did 4 years
Okay.
of high school at Eastern Commerce in Toronto,
Yeah.
big basketball school.
Yeah.
And
Huge.
then, as I said, I took one summer off of basketball and then decided I wanted to get back into it. So recruiting had fallen off a little bit. So
Hmm.
I decided to take my fifth year at a boarding school in New Jersey, just outside of
Yeah.
New York.
Okay.
And I still ended up doing cross country and rowing there, but I made it clear basketball was my sport. So that opened up recruiting a bit more.
Right. So I kind of have two questions in my head. One I'm thinking is when and why did you come to that decision to take that extra year, give yourself that time, other than the recruiting dropping down? And why did you think going to New Jersey would be the best option for you? Were there coaches, mentors, family, yourself? Like, give us an understanding of why you made that move. It's a very unique thing, kind of to reclassify. Very common now, and
Mhm.
like I said, you're not that old, but how did you come to all those decisions and decide that was the best move for you?
Yeah, I think just talking with my parents and figuring out if basketball was something I wanted to do. I'm extremely competitive, so I always want to do at the highest level. And listening to my parents' advice, it was a good idea to take an extra year,
Mhm.
focus more on basketball, develop my skills because when I was younger, I was more just the fastest on the court, ran up and down, did that, but knowing I wanted to go play at a high level in college, um, taking the extra year would develop my body, get stronger and develop some more skills. And going to New Jersey, I think it was just a change of scene. I had great coaches in Toronto, had
Hmm.
great teammates, and the basketball scene now it's amazing. And even back then it was really great. But I think it was just the change of scene and to get myself out there, put myself in a different environment, develop before I wanted to go to college.
Yeah. Did you know what you were getting into? Or was it like, did you have an idea in your mind and it was equal to that? Or was it different than when you arrived in good old New Jersey?
Yeah. I don't know what I thought it
Oh, I
was,
stumped her a bit. Okay.
but yeah.
Here we go.
I had a great experience. I loved my boarding school experience,
Yeah.
and I think I liked it because it wasn't in it wasn't a boarding school for athletics. It was a regular boarding school for academics, um, a lot of other reasons, and they just happened to have really good basketball. So I feel like it was just a whole new experience. Got to meet different people from all over the world who were interested in many different things,
Hmm.
and I'm just lucky they had a really good basketball team.
um, where you touched on, where does that competitiveness edge come from? Did it develop at an early age? Was it brought up in the family? Like you're smirking here, but
Yeah.
you touched on it. So clearly there is something, and for someone to want to excel at different things at a younger age too, and then you talk about you just take on rowing, be part of the rowing team. Where does that come from?
I think it's naturally a part of my personality.
Okay.
And growing up with two older brothers and a younger sister, we're all pretty close in age, all
Yeah.
played sports. We were together a lot, so that definitely brought out the competitiveness. Whether it was playing football with my brothers and my dad, I always wanted to win. They always literally tried to kill me. And then playing against my sister, always competing. Anything. We compete with anything. Games, card games, board games, sports, just part of the family.
Must have been some exhausting times for your parents. I'm sure lots of
Definitely for
refereeing
my
and
parents, but fun
yeah,
for us.
lots of bloodbaths. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you're going towards your what is your senior year in New Jersey, you said very good school academically, lots of people from all over the world, but the basketball is also phenomenal. Take us through kind of the recruiting process for you, how you decided on what you did, and was there a school that was somewhat close other than Virginia Tech? Now, I mean, you went there and did your thing, so you can tell us
Mhm.
the truth, but talk about that recruiting process and how you decided to do what you did.
Yeah, so the recruiting process for me was always overwhelming.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
when the phone called, I'd be like, please say I'm not home. But I
Yeah.
was
Why is it like meeting a random person on Zoom doing a podcast? You're doing it now. I mean, but you're,
yeah,
you know,
pretty
you're an
similar.
old, yeah, you're an older woman now. But like when you're
Yeah.
younger, like was it just the awkward small talk that wasn't for you and sort of like, or was it that you felt like they're just selling you something and it wasn't genuine, or you were just too busy
Yeah.
doing other stuff?
I just felt like I had no idea what I wanted to do, what sport I
Fair.
wanted to do. So I was just like, I don't know what I can tell you or what I'm listening to. But I would say I was recruited mostly mid majors, high mid majors, and a few Power Five schools.
Mhm.
But I think my level would have been if I wanted to compete and play high minutes right away, I would have
Mhm.
been going to a mid major school. And so I talked to the most coaches at that level, took most of my visits there. Um, my parents and my high school coach actually pretty much had to force me to go to Virginia Tech to take my visit because I was sold on another school. And I actually verbally committed to Yale before Virginia Tech.
Damn. Okay.
Um, and then after talking to my parents, we figured that Yale, amazing school, still great basketball, but it was a level that I could always play at. And if I really wanted to develop as a basketball player and see how far I could take this, then I needed to play in the ACC and give my shot at what I believe to be the best conference in women's basketball, at least back then,
Mhm.
still now. So yeah, we came to that decision and committed to Virginia Tech, signed, and had an amazing 4 years. Wouldn't change it.
So Yale, and you touch on the private school and or the just being lots of worldly renowned people and different thinkers. Sounds like academics were quite important for you as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Don't know what I'll do with them now, but
Yeah.
back then academics, it was it was hard to look at Ivy League schools and say, I don't want to go there, but
right?
very happy that, which is funny because most parents would want their kids to go
Hmm.
to no matter what to get into those schools. But my parents knew what I wanted athletically and supported me. And without their guidance, I would not be where I am today. So do not
Hmm.
regret that decision at all.
Yeah, for sure. And you had fantastic years, and your senior year was awesome stats wise. But um,
Mhm.
what was it that separated, other than your parents kind of helping support you? Was it about the coaching staff? Was it campus? Did you get to meet the team? You go to verbally commit to someone and then decide something else. That there must have been something other than your parents in your ear that really made you go,
Yeah.
and playing time, right? But like, what was it? Was there something
Yeah,
more?
I think it was, pardon?
Was there something more?
I think it was just stepping back and thinking about what I wanted, and Virginia Tech was going to be the place to be. They
Hmm.
were ACC is extremely competitive. I liked the coaching staff. I met the team, had a great visit on campus. There was a Canadian, a class above me who I was good friends with, so that always helps.
Sure.
But I think it was just if I want to be the best basketball player I can be, how can I not go to the best basketball offer that I have?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was great. Great decision.
For sure. And then when you step on campus as a freshman, the practice, and that's one of the great, beautiful things about sport, right? You've already touched on kind of there's a Canadian there, but then you also get to meet, 12, 13 teammates. You've at least got an instant connection, never mind the other sports on campus, Virginia Tech, big athletic school. Um, but let's talk about getting inside the lines and where we fit in there. What were the ups and downs, the growing pains as a freshman? Knowing that you had that extra year too, probably physically and mentally helps. And you've gone through a year of off home life. You've lived on a campus. So you've experienced that a little bit. But were there any like, oh boy moments those first few practices? Or did you feel like I got this right away?
Yeah, I mean, I felt confidence in my own game, but
Mm.
you get to practice and you're like, everybody is so good. Because even though I came from two great high schools with great basketball players, you get to college, there are fifth year seniors who are all ACC freshmen coming in that were on the all world team at Junior Worlds from Australia. And you step into the gym and you're like, everybody is good. And
Yeah.
so day in and day out, you're fighting for your spot. And I would say I had a typical freshman year. Some games I played 2 minutes, some games I played 15, but
Hmm.
strictly just a role player. And I love being a role player. I'm pretty good at being a role player. But as I said, I'm competitive and you always want more. So it was hard to not play a lot.
So how did you fight through that? Was it talking with coaches or the assistants and saying, what can I do to get more? Was it going home and journaling and believing in yourself, phone calls home? How does a young freshman, we just had Melvin Edgem on the show. He talked about that too, his role changing in his sophomore year, kind of, and then that self-doubt can kick in. So how are you able to fight through that other than being hyper competitive? What else do you
Mhm.
do to, mentally kind of show up every day and do your thing?
Yeah, I would say for me, it's just being in the gym.
Mm,
After games, if I didn't play as much as I wanted to, I would try to go out, get some cardio in, and get a lot of shots up, and then come back the next day knowing every day is a new day. And I think accepting your role but wanting more was huge for me mentally, knowing what my role was going to be for the next game and doing the best I could possibly do at it. And then once you excel at that, then you can slowly start to expect isn't the right word, but
hmm.
expect more
Yeah,
from
you
yourself.
you could say
And
it. Yeah.
yeah.
No, that makes total sense. Have you reflected on the fact that going through that a little bit is kind of similar about how you maybe some of your experiences with the national team, right? Before getting to where you were at, like kind of just really understanding that and that when you get the opportunity to talk with so many great basketball players, you realize that there's kind of levels, right? You go from being a star on one team to hey, you better be a really good cheerleader here. And
Mhm.
something like the national team, if you don't go in with a good attitude and buy in, the phone might not ring again, right? So,
Yeah,
do you ever connect those two and thought about that?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think the everybody who plays basketball, unless very rarely are you always the best player on every single team you're on.
sure.
And I think me recognizing that and knowing that there are a lot of things that you can do to be a great player and person on the team that don't involve playing 30 minutes and scoring 15, 20 points. And then when you realize that and do that to the best of your ability, you can always feel like you contributed.
Mm.
And maybe it's not in the dream way. Everybody dreams to play. You want to play at
Yeah.
the Olympics, you want to play 40 minutes, win a gold medal, be the MVP.
Hmm.
Who wouldn't want that? But there are so many other ways that you can achieve what you want. And I
Hmm.
think when I realize that and other players realize that, you can find so much joy in the game. And I think that's important for me on all my teams I'm on.
Did you organically realize that? Was it through reading some books? Like, because not everybody gets there. And not
Hmm.
everybody can step back and go, where do I fit in with this? And they think, oh, I just need to get 25, which is something bad in basketball. Or you think we got it. But where did you, how does this one come to that? Just intrigued. Is it from playing
I
all the
think
different
I
sports and like experiences? Like, what is it?
I think it's I kind of organically realized that
Mm,
and maybe from being in a family with a lot of siblings and it is just who I am. When I was younger, when my parents said, run upstairs and get me this, I'll time you, be back in 10 seconds. I would be back in 10 seconds for no reason. So now if my coach puts me in the game and says, guard this person full court for 30 seconds and then you're getting subbed out, I'll do it for 30 seconds and come
yeah,
out.
right.
And I think if you focus too much on the things that you're not getting and the things that aren't happening for you, you won't be able to do the things that are right in front of you. And I think I would never have the opportunities with the national team that I have if I went in and tried to be the star every time. So
Mm-hmm.
that also was pretty easy for me to realize and found another way to achieve what I wanted to.
Now tell the truth. You come down the stairs after 10 seconds. I know you're like, no, that was 9.2. There's no way you're just
Oh
saying I
yeah,
made it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You want the
I
official
always beat
time.
the time.
I've already picked that up in 30 minutes
Yeah.
here. I'm like, there's no way she's just saying 10 under 10. I need to know exactly
Yeah.
where I'm at. Yeah. Okay, to
Yeah.
the 10th. That makes sense. Um when did the national team first come calling for you and talk about those early experiences with I mean, it's kind of scary to think how long you've been with them now, right? Like you're still young, but like so when did that
Yeah.
first call come and talk about what that felt like to be able to wear, the maple leaf on your chest and represent your country?
Yeah, the first time they called, I was in grade 11. So it was a call for the trying out for the under 19 team. And I went to the first training camp and got called back to final tryouts in the summer. But this was actually the summer I decided to take off and do track instead. But I'm thankful for the
Wow.
coaches in the program for accepting me back the next year when I realized I did want to play basketball. So the
Hmm.
first time I got to wear the jersey was under 18 FIBA Americas in 2012. And it was an incredible feeling. It's something I dream of.
Hmm.
And to be able to be on that court with those players wearing Canada across my chest, the feeling never gets old. Now it's been 12, no, yeah, 12 years
Hmm.
later. And still the same feeling every time I get out there. Every time I get
Hmm.
the email inviting me to camp, it's excitement, nerves, and can't wait to get going.
No doubt. And it's such a unique, like we've never had anyone have a story like this in terms of like their major formative high school years, just take a pause from the sport and then be able to come back to it and make a national team, which speaks to your determination and athletic ability. Um, when did you, now you've talked about wanting to be an Olympian. When did you think I want to play pro? I want to get paid to do this. Was it before you were at Virginia Tech or at some point in there?
Yeah, I had never really thought about the pro route until
Well, you didn't know what you wanted to do, so why would you have thought
yeah.
about that was a terrible
So
question. Like, what am I doing here? Yeah, you're like all
yeah,
over the place. Of course you didn't think about being a pro
yeah,
basketball player. You wanted to be a track rower. Yeah. That's my
yeah,
bad. That's on me, as that the young ones would say. Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
No, I think at the end of my junior year, I was with we had a development national team at the time, so more or less for university age students. And
Hmm.
we had a tournament in the summer and we were just talking about what we're doing after. And I kind of realized that all the players who were on the senior national team were playing pro in Europe, or many of them are in the WNBA. So that's when I started to think if I really want to be a part of the senior national team, then being pro is something I should and can do.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard after my junior year because I was still my first 3 years at Virginia Tech, I was still more of a role player, even though my minutes had upped, but I wasn't a big time scorer or
Yeah.
that type of player. So I was fortunate going to my senior year. I had a great senior year. At the end of it, I decided I wanted to take the chance, see if I could play pro, see how far I could take it, and see if I would still be with the senior national team. And yeah, that's when I decided to go pro.
So what changed in that senior year? Were you like, I'm going to be more offensively minded, or was it a combination with the coach asking you for that? Like, because you touched on accepting a role, but that shift of turning that on, like, well, how and why? Or did it just happen like you found yourself more shots? Like, yeah,
Yeah, we had a coaching staff change from
yeah,
the end of my junior year to senior year. So we had a whole new coaching staff, a bunch of new players. So my role
kind of
did
like a
change
fresh slate almost, right? Like,
almost, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So my role changed and our style of play changed. And the coach the coach I had for my senior year, he actually recruited me to James Madison when I was in high
Mm,
school. And he was one of the coaches who came to visit me on my high school campus. And I had to tell him no. And then we were reunited for my senior year at Virginia Tech. And it was great for me, great for my confidence, great for my skill development. And I wouldn't have had the opportunities I have if he didn't let me be free,
yeah, for sure.
play my
But
game. Yeah.
a comfortable feeling though too, like, to have the whole coaching shift change, but at least it's like, okay, I have, although small, like there is a relationship with this person already, and they are, and like also even better, they wanted me to come play for them, right? It's not like you've never don't know this person, you're thinking, what are they going to think of me? And then you're going into your senior year. It's a big year, right? Like there's a lot that could
Mhm.
happen there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Worked out well.
Yeah, no doubt. Now I'm also interested too. You're on the road with the national team or the junior national team. What are some of the conversations? Is there talk about pro ball? Are we finding what do they call them? The old heads, and asking them questions about their experiences? How does one work through all that, and figure that out, or are you just sort of figuring it out on your own? How do you learn and grow that? Is that your style or no?
Yeah, I definitely make my own choices, but I do like hearing
I'm getting
other
that
people's
vibe.
experiences.
Yes.
Yeah. I do like hearing about other people's experiences and after my senior year, it was the first time I got invited to senior national camp. So I got to be around all these pros,
Hmm.
whereas before I was with only college athletes or players who were playing the NCAA. So it was great to one, just be in the gym with them and be around all these amazing professional athletes. And then to hear about their experiences, where they've played, where they like playing, the differences in leagues. And really, it comes down to what opportunities come to you. It's
Hmm.
very rare that you get to pick and choose what teams, what countries you get to play in. But it
Hmm.
is great to hear about everybody's experiences, everybody's opinions on where they've been. And yeah, we do talk a lot now about our clubs, our teams, our countries that we're in. And yeah, I love Spain, so I'm trying to convince as many people as I can to come play in Spain.
Nice. Yeah. Why wouldn't you? Um,
Mhm.
let's reflect a little bit, and I know you've done it many times, but sort of talk to the guests or the listeners, guests, you're the guests, about like being an alternate for the Olympics, right? As cool as that may be, air quote, you're just so damn close. You want to be Olympian, and then you're gonna come with us, but you're just not quite there. I mean, that's got to be like what an honor and a blessing to be considered one of the top, whatever, 14 in the entire country. But at the same time, you say it, not me. I'm just
Yeah.
wondering how that feels. Yeah.
No,
And the
it
reason we can talk
definitely,
about it now is because you got to have last summer. So,
yeah,
or else I wouldn't have brought it up. Yeah.
no, it's okay. It definitely stung,
Hmm.
like being that close and not having it happen for you. It's it was a terrible feeling. Um, and it definitely took a couple weeks to kind of come to terms with it. But by the time the national team was playing at the Olympics, I had come home, I was sitting on my couch watching, and I just kind of realized like it's still my team. Those are my coaches, those are my teammates, those are my friends. It's my country.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and my mom sent me a quote, super simple, but I love it. It was like, don't be bitter, just get better.
Mm.
And so I was like, you're right. I had my little few days
Yep.
of
Woe is me. Yep.
self-pity.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely had those days.
Sure.
But yeah, then I was still with the team. So after a couple days, I was like, this might, as I said, you get your role, you accept it. I was like, this is my new role. I'm not going to be here, be miserable, ruin it for the team. The team needs me to do something right now with them, help them prepare for the Olympics. When I get home, I'm cheering for my country. And then when the next quad starts, I'm doing everything I can to get on the Paris team.
Love that. You're savage. Love it. I love it. Um, and then like so much can happen in 4 years, right? It's not like, oh, the next tryout is 3 months from now, and then so
Yeah.
focus on the pro, focus in the off season, right? Talk about what does that meeting look like? Is it a phone call to let you know? Is it you walk into a room and the coaches are all cross-legged staring at you like, how do you think it went during camp? Like, how do you get the notification that you have been one of the chosen to attend the Paris Olympics?
Yeah, we had meetings with the coaches and the staff at the end of one of our training camps. So it was definitely stressful, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, my meeting went well, so I was happy with it.
How do you fight through the self-doubt during that tryout? How do you not take, I know trauma is a hard word. I don't want to use that, but like of what, yeah, okay. She's like, yeah, yeah. How do you take like the trauma of knowing and going through all that and not quite getting there, but knowing that you're there again and sort of just waking up every day and trying to do your best? Because that's a lot to go through. You're not, you're looking at some of the other women on the team and it's like, well, they're a fit, they're a fit. Like
Yeah.
we all know there's a few that are right. And then there's some that it's like, what are they looking for? Do they want role players? Do they want shooting? Do they want what do they want? So how do you wake up during that second camp after, well, it wouldn't have been 4 years, but three and a bit or whatever to just do it every day. Just leaning back on that competitive fire, the fights in the backyards with brothers and sisters. Like, what is it?
Yeah, I think for me, I really take every day is a new day. And there are things that happened in the past, last game, last practice um that happened, but that
Mhm.
doesn't mean they're going to happen again today. And I just remind myself I'm at those camps for a reason, and I'm have the opportunity to fight for a spot for a reason. And so if I'm the
Yeah,
best version of myself, then that's all I can do. And just knowing that everything's going to be okay regardless of what happens. Might suck again for a couple days, but still here, still playing basketball,
yeah,
still being able to represent the national team at many different tournaments. So just reminding myself that it's going to be okay, but all you can do is show up to practice or tryouts and be the best possible version of yourself and give everything you have every day. And once you lay it all out, there can never be any regrets about what happens.
I love that. Um, how did it feel to land in Paris and just sort of you put on that tracksuit or whatever they leave in your room for you and walk out? And I know it was an interesting situation because depending where you were, where you guys started, it was a little different, kind of satellite campuses or whatever. But just talk about when did you have an like moment, or did you not allow yourself? You're like locked in or whatever the whole time.
No, I think I was pretty level-headed about everything until I walked out for warm-ups to our first game. And we
Mm,
played France, so 1 hour before the game there were almost 20,000 French
packed.
people screaming.
Not
And
for
I
you
walked,
either.
yeah, not for
Yeah.
me either. But that's when I walked out and I was like, I'm at the Olympics.
Mhm.
And then I felt a little bit of nerves, but then as soon as we started shooting and warm up, it's just another basketball game. I
Back to
take these
business.
shots every day. I do this routine every single day. And it's not just another game, but it's another basketball game. So
Hmm.
that was my wow, I'm at the Olympics moment. And then it went back to being basketball.
Hmm. Awesome. Okay, one more sort of deeper question before we ask you what your favorite bag of chips are, which you probably don't even eat them. Um,
I I
okay,
like
here we
spicy
go. Here we
chips,
go.
yeah.
You've been with the national team for a long time now, starting as a junior, U18-ish to where you are now. Talk about what you've seen and the progression from not only just the effort that people have made behind the scenes to make Canada basketball what it is financially, make you all, and also just for women in sport too. Because maybe it's a tiring question for you, but I think it's important because the trajectory of women's basketball and the way it's going is so good. And having people like Miranda and Kayla on the show and Ace and all these people that are giving it their all. What are your thoughts and reflection on where Canada basketball was when you started? And you don't have to talk about the dark ages too much, but where it is now, because I get the sense from what I've seen, having Mike Bartlett on the show too, there is intentional effort, and it seems like it's night and day as to what it was.
Mhm. It definitely is, and I think there are two groups that have made it happen for us. One would
Mm,
be all the players that have come through the program, the players that our team were built on, like
mm,
Kim, Murr, Nio, Maya, Nat was still with us this summer, but like those are the
mm-hmm,
people that really suffered through some hard times and did all the tournaments, all the games to be able to build Canada up to where it was or where it is. And
mm-hmm.
then the players that keep coming. There are people you get the call for national team, people show up and give it their all. So it's really a long list of players that have made it to where we are today. And I think it is also incredible to watch the younger players and how good our youth
Oof.
national teams, junior national teams are. And it's scary. I think we're going to be good for a long time.
I'm
So I
seeing
think
these clips
there's,
of Jasmine and Sila. I'm like, hot damn, man. These
yeah,
are hooper. Like, these
they
girls are
are.
cooking, man. Holy,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, so we have a lot of players to thank for what they did for the program to get us to where we are today,
hmm
and a lot of players who love playing for Canada. So it's great. And then also Canada Basketball as a corporation, they have worked so hard to be able to get us the things that we need to be successful, whether it's fundraising, gyms, coaches, times, like they do. I know they do everything in their power to give us what we need and what
hmm
we want. And so it's just a great place to be when people want to be there and then people who are behind the scenes want you there and want to support you. And then I think it's also a great time to be a woman in sport. There's so many great things happening, so many new leagues popping up around the world and so much visibility. And so I think it's great for the players, but also the younger girls who need people to look up to. And now it's not just one female star that everybody has
Yeah.
to look up to. There's you can have your pick, any sport, any team, any place. There are people to look up to. So I think it's pretty amazing, and I'm thankful to be a part of it.
Yeah. And that's why, as exhausting as it might be, that's why we're thankful that you're just taking time to be with us because you're sharing your story. You're letting people know a little bit more about who you are. And it is one of the cool things about sport in 2024 as well, is just those that choose to, and it's not for everyone. You can be private or whatever, but you can find more platforms to be able to and be more tangible to people, right? So when you guys are playing in Victoria, someone DMs me through my brother and their club team gets to sit and a couple of the girls come out and talk to the team that's from the team talked and they just like lose their minds, right? And those are
Mhm.
cool moments. So it's really good to see and thank you for that reflection. Um, all right, you ready?
I think so.
Okay, big sigh. It's not that stressful. Okay, you
These
said
questions are harder for me than the other ones.
yeah?
Yes.
Good. Yeah, you were pretty smooth during the interview. Hopefully, we can stump you a little bit here. I don't know. You probably didn't listen to Kim's episode, but when I asked her about chips, she said, "I don't know. I really like oranges."
Oh.
So I was like, "Wow, that would be why you've made like 3 Olympics because you just eat oranges." But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, that one threw us for a loop. Okay, let's get to the one that you said you really like books. So I'm
Yeah.
is it books over movies if you had to choose? Yeah. Okay. Or
Yes,
yes. So
definitely.
what do we read? And do you have a recommendation for the listeners of a book that's maybe recent or something all time for you that you would recommend to people to read?
Yeah, I love everything and can read anything, but I would say my two favorites. The first would be Open, Andre Agassi's
Such a
autobiography.
good book. Well
Great story.
played.
Yeah. Whether you're an
That
athlete or not, it's an amazing story.
well
And my
done.
fiction
Yes.
side, I would
Okay.
say the Red Rising series,
Okay.
science fiction, but it's my favorite books of all time. I reread them every summer, and the final one is coming out next summer, so
Oh,
or
she's
this summer, I
stoked.
guess.
She's
Yes.
stoked. Well, reread. Okay, so are you a Kindler or do you like book in hand?
I like book in hand, which
Yeah,
is very difficult for my overseas life because
sure.
half half of my suitcase is books. So,
When you're on the road or just in
yeah,
general
or
going
when I
back and
come
forth? Yeah,
from
yeah,
back
yeah.
and forth, I'm like, "Oh," but worth it for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a passion there. Great call in the Agassi book. And I love how you touch on you don't have to be an athlete. When I read that, I was not anticipating half the things I read. Wow.
No,
Yeah.
it was
Would
wild.
well done. Good pull. Okay. You got dinner for four. Can be anybody you choose. Who are the three people that you're gonna sit down and have dinner with?
Oh,
And she's like, I'm gonna leave someone out, or yeah,
this is always a tough one for
yeah.
me.
Okay.
But I know two, I would go both my grandmothers.
Okay.
They both were big supporters, big fans of my basketball career, but I also love them both very much. And unfortunately, they both passed away before I became an Olympian. So I'd love to
Uh,
not only sit down with them to tell them that it happened, but just to be able to see them again. And then I'd pick my mom or my dad, whoever's available at the time, to sit with us. They can bring us the food.
I love it. Okay, well done. All right. So you gave me a bit of a dirty look when I said you don't eat chips, so I didn't mean to disrespect you, but if you did have a choice, and it probably depends on what part of the world you're in, so you take it how you want. What's the top bag of chips? Or maybe there's a tie. I don't know. Let the people know.
Yeah. I don't know. I do love desserts and sweets and chips, so
Okay.
I won't pull in oranges out like Kim did, but maybe I wish I was more like Kim, so maybe I should start eating oranges. But I don't know if it's a chip, but Cheeto Puffs.
Yeah, sure.
I
Yeah,
know they're
Cheeto.
probably the worst thing for you.
Like
Dye your
the
hands orange.
yeah,
Yeah, the little smile
yeah,
ones.
yeah.
They are, I eat the whole family size bag anytime
That's
I
the
get my hands
weakness,
on
hey?
them.
Okay.
Yep.
And then yeah, you just get the layer of cheese, hey? Like
Yeah.
it's yeah, good stuff.
So natural. Great.
This is a safe place. It's fine. It's fine. It's all about balance, right?
Yep, for sure.
Okay, so you've got the best seat in the house. You can take whoever you want. Uh Greatest venue for you. Which concert are you going to go to? And you can pick a couple if you'd like. Is there some live music? Someone maybe you've seen before, someone you haven't seen, doesn't matter. What do you got?
Yeah, I would say Dermot Kennedy. I've
Who the
seen
heck is
him.
that? Fill me in here. Is that
He's an
country?
Irish singer-songwriter.
Her face. She's like, how do you not know this guy?
Yeah, I'm very bad at describing genres.
Oh,
But I've seen him twice already, and I just love all of his songs, and they were great concerts, so I'd definitely
overseas,
go
did you
then.
see him?
I saw him in Boston and in
Okay,
Toronto.
just looking
Yeah.
him up right now. Okay, I'll check him out. Sorry, I'm just taking
Yeah.
notes here.
No, he's a good one.
Okay, anybody else?
This is also a tough question for me. And I
Yeah,
would say not because I'm a huge fan and know all of his songs, but I think it would be unbelievable to have been able to go to a Michael Jackson concert. Won't claim to be a giant fan, do like his music,
sure.
but I think the concert would be an experience.
Like we've got to be pushing 65% of the guests have mentioned Michael Jackson in the same.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, like just because of the overall front to back, what you would get
Hmm.
experience. Yeah, I think it'd be pretty fantastic. So well
Yeah.
done. So what's in the AirPods for when you're getting activated and ready in the locker room? Is it
Yeah. I
is it
don't have
no?
a
Just
strict
shuffle?
playlist. I
Yeah.
usually put like a 2014, 2015 rap hip hop R&B mix because I think my college days had the best music, so I like
Oh,
listening to the throwbacks.
I like where we're at. Who
Yeah.
gets the aux at an off day in Lille between games? Is there when if music's playing, does it who on the team gets aux?
Ooh, we usually put Shay on the ox.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's trusted. We're good.
Yeah. She's
Okay,
got a good mix going on.
it's
Mhm.
good. I mean, that's a big role.
It is. I
Yeah,
never take it. It's too stressful.
yeah. Like I teach PE and I try to do my best. I have Spotify, and then the kids will request songs, and then I'll be like, "You go on aux," and then they just melt down because they it's too much pressure. So it's not an easy
Yeah, it
role. You
is.
talk about role playing. It's not an easy one.
Yeah. I do not
Yeah,
accept that role.
fair. Can see you know who you are.
Yeah.
Who have been some of the most important people in your life up to this point? You've touched on a lot, but anybody you missed or you want to reemphasize?
I would definitely say my parents, my siblings, my coaches growing up. I had one coach in high school at Eastern Commerce, was a big part of my basketball life and still is, and my club coach from North Toronto Huskies as well. And
Shout
of
them out.
recently,
Give some name, drop some names here.
Kareem Griffin from Eastern Commerce and Jason Seeley was my North Toronto coach.
There you go.
And recently, my husband, huge supporter and makes everything I do worth it.
Yeah. Is he not that it's our business? Is he Canadian?
He is Canadian. He
Yeah,
played at
okay.
University of Toronto
Oh,
basketball
okay.
player as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
right on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Good stuff. And is he's over with you and doing his thing?
No,
No.
he'll come visit soon, but
Yeah.
he stays in Toronto
Yeah.
and then comes and visits when he can.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well, that must be nice when he arrives.
definitely.
Cool. Okay, two questions left. Have you been to Kitts Beach in Vancouver?
Maybe.
There's like
I
a
was in
nice
Vancouver
outdoor
for the
court.
first time this past summer and
Oh,
I
first
forget.
time. Okay.
Yeah.
Like a true Vancouverite being super ignorant, thinking that it's the center of the universe, much like Torontoites. But anyways, so we have a beautiful beach where there's some outdoor courts there. So it's you and four ballers. They could be they don't have to be Canadian. They could be your most favorite players of all time. They could be a sibling. It doesn't matter. But we're talking like it's outdoor ball, right? So it's twos and threes, call your own, right? And
Yeah.
you know what it's like. If you lose, you may not get back on, right? Because there's people waiting. So who are you running with?
Yeah. This was a hard question and I actually
Yep.
asked my husband and he said you better pick me. And I said I'm not picking you because the last time we played pickup, he looked me off and I've never forgiven him.
Wow.
But he he claims it was the right read. Our team did score. So it was
So you
okay.
can't, okay, yeah, you can only push that one so far if we did need
Yeah.
the bucket, but God bless him
But
if there was no bucket on the end of that. Whew,
I know.
yeah,
But no, I will take my husband Riley. I'll take both my older brothers and I will take my little sister. Little, she's 26, 27. But
still.
yeah.
Okay, so what position is everyone? Like who's the point? Like,
Yeah, I think
look,
we'd be very guard heavy.
okay,
And
it's
my brother when he
2024.
played, my brother played at University of Toronto as well.
Okay.
And he's all-time leading scorer there, but probably all-time
Buckets.
shot taker as well. So
Oh,
no, but we would play
what's
five out.
I love the shots fired. I love it personally. It's great. Yeah.
No, we would play five out, but I think at a regular run, people would have a tough time to beat us.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old is your brother, the one who's the leading scorer at U of T?
He is, I'm 30. He's 34, but
Okay.
he played there. He went to Cornell first, so he played at University of
Okay.
Toronto. He finished 2015.
Oh, he still broke the record after. So he didn't play
Yeah, so he
5 years at
played he
two.
played at U of T for 4 years.
So there were a lot of field goal attempts. We don't need to check the percentage either, but the shot has been fired. That was well done. Good on you. Gives gives the listener some insight into the sibling rivalry. And if you still listen this far, that's on your head, pal.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. One of the things that's been super enjoying, personally about this podcast is like just getting to know so many different people, sharing their stories. Who's out there? Don't put anyone on blast who you think will go. Sammy, why in God's name did you say I would be a good guest? You know I don't like doing this stuff. who's out there that would be a great person to have on the show, and we could just sort of chop it up with and have them share their story?
Yeah, I would. You said Ace has already been on, Ace
Yep.
Koenig.
Yeah.
I would say Emily Potter or Nia
Okay.
Beckham.
Okay.
Yeah, both
Y-
good Canadians playing overseas now.
You're the connect. You realize this. This is on
Yeah,
you. Okay. All
I have
right.
a group chat with them. I'll say,
One of many. Yeah,
yeah, you're
good.
on.
There you go. You have no choice. Awesome. And listen, thank you for being with us. Taking your time overseas where you could just be stretching and reading a book or whatever it is, and sharing your story. You're in the echelon of a Canadian Olympic basketball player on the women's side now. So fantastic. Continued success to you, health and happiness to you and your family. Last thoughts or reflections before we let you go?
No, thank you for having me on. Happy it worked out. Always glad to make the time.
Yeah, it can be a juggle, but we do appreciate your time. And when I just was like looking at my schedule, I was like, I'm gonna fire this one. You're like, works for me. I'm like, yes. Because quite honestly, sometimes these things take years just to connect. So thanks for, putting your neck out there for women's sport, for representing our country with pride. And we wish you nothing but the best going forward. Continued success. Have a great Christmas holiday, and all the best for you going forward.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
You bet. An absolute fantastic episode. 149. Sammy Hill. Still so much basketball left. Great insight and reflection on life and hoops. And we will see you on the next one.